Welcome, friends. Today, we embark on a dark journey into the world of rum. We'll explore its global historical roots, then move on to understanding the history and process of rum making. Before we jump on into our video, please do mash the subscribe button as this does help our channel grow. Every mickle mecca muckle. Thank you. Rum, often referred to as the nectar of the Caribbean, is one of the world's most beloved spirits. The production of rum is inextricably linked to the region's history of sugar production. Sugarcane was first cultivated in New Guinea and first fermented as early as approximately 350 BC in India. Back then, however, these fermented drinks were primarily used medicinally and with purpose. Fast forward to the 1400s, where the explorers we all learned about in grade school started opening up the world's trade routes through their explorations. As the Caribbean islands began to be discovered, so was a perfect climate for growing sugarcane. Christopher Columbus brought sugarcane to the Caribbean from the Canary Islands during his second voyage in 1493. By the mid-1600s, Britain, France, Spain, and the Netherlands had all established vast sugar plantations in the Caribbean. Sugar became the Caribbean's most valuable export, generating vast wealth for colonizing nations. Sugar plantations required an immense labor force, leading to the tragic transatlantic slave trade, where millions of West Africans were forcibly brought to the Caribbean to work under harsh conditions. Amidst this dark history, the byproduct of sugar production, molasses, became the base for what we now know as rum. Enslaved Africans brought with them knowledge of fermentation from their own cultures. Fermentation of local fruits and grains for alcoholic beverages was common in West African societies, and this knowledge was adapted to the resources available in the Caribbean, such as molasses. Scholars like Frederick H. Smith, in Caribbean Rum, A Social and Economic History, highlight the contributions of enslaved Africans to the development of rum production. Archaeological excavations on Caribbean plantations have uncovered distillation equipment, such as stills and fermentation vats, from the 17th century. These findings provide tangible evidence of early rum production and the involvement of enslaved labor in development of the process. The first documented mass distillery was established in the Caribbean in 1651 on Barbados, which is often regarded as the birthplace of the rum we know today. Historical records indicate that around 1650, plantation owners in Barbados began experimenting with distilling the byproducts of sugarcane processing. Writings of Jean-Baptiste Labat, a French priest, documented the distillation process in the French Caribbean during the late 17th and early 18th centuries. He provides details on how enslaved Africans were involved in the fermentation and distillation of sugarcane byproducts. The techniques and practices developed in these first distilleries laid the foundation for the diverse and rich rum-making traditions that we see throughout the Caribbean today, and marked the beginning of rum's journey as a staple in the region. These early distilleries utilized the abundant molasses waste product to create a potent spirit, initially referred to as kill devil or rum bouillon, which later became known simply as rum. The drink was a staple ration on trading and military ships, contributing to maritime traditions like the tot of rum in the British Royal Navy. From the 1650s until as recently as 1970, sailors were issued a daily ration of rum, which they mixed with lime juice, a practice that began to prevent scurvy and other ailments, as well as to provide a morale boost. It was Admiral Edward Vernon, who in 1740 ordered that the rum ration be diluted with water to reduce drunkenness among sailors. This mixture became known as grog and was typically served twice daily. The ratio was initially half a pint of rum mixed with a quart of water. The importance of rum in naval life was so entrenched that its cessation in the British Royal Navy on July 31, 1970, is still remembered as Black Tot Day, marking the end of a 300-year-old tradition. Today, rum is produced in many countries, but its heart remains in the Caribbean. There are 24 Caribbean countries that produce rum, and depending on the colonial influences of the British, Dutch, French, and Spanish, each has developed unique characteristics due to different production techniques, raw materials, and aging processes. Let's take a look in more detail at the process involved in the production of rum. Production of any rum begins with sugarcane, the primary raw material used to obtain sugar. Once harvested, sugarcane is crushed to extract juice, which is then collected, and the remaining fibrous material, bagasse, is separated. Bagasse is often used as a fuel source for the mill. French rum, Rum agricole, uses this fresh sugarcane juice to make rum, while the British and Spanish rums are made with a later byproduct of sugar production, molasses. To obtain molasses, the raw juice is heated to around 70 to 90 degrees Celsius, 158 to 194 degrees Fahrenheit, to facilitate the coagulation process. The heated juice is then allowed to settle in large tanks or clarifiers. The impurities settle to the bottom, forming a sludge, while the clarified juice remains on top. The clarified juice, now called thin juice, is concentrated into thick juice by evaporating excess water. This is done in multiple effect evaporators, where the juice is boiled under vacuum to lower the boiling point and save energy. Seed crystals of sugar are added to the supersaturated syrup to promote the growth of sugar crystals. The mixture of sugar crystals and molasses or mother liquor is spun in centrifuges to separate the crystals from the molasses. All rum undergoes fermentation using yeast, with French rum being a quicker fermentation, preserving fresh sugarcane flavors. Molasses, used by Spanish and British rum makers, is mixed with water and then fermented. During fermentation, yeast converts the sugars into ethanol and carbon dioxide. This process typically lasts 24 to 48 hours, depending on the desired flavor profile. After fermentation, the resulting liquid, called wash, undergoes distillation. Distillation is the process where the fermented liquid is heated to separate the alcohol from the water and impurities. In traditional pot stills, the wash is heated until the alcohol vaporizes, then condenses back into liquid form. Column stills, a more modern method, allow continuous distillation and produce a higher purity alcohol. The chemistry of distillation relies on the difference between the boiling points of alcohol, 78.37 degrees Celsius, and water, 100 degrees. As the wash heats, alcohol evaporates first, rising through the still. This vapor is collected, cooled, and condensed, resulting in a higher concentration of alcohol. The Caribbean region is home to both traditional pot stills and modern column stills, each contributing to the unique character of the rum. The distilled spirit, or raw rum, is then aged in oak barrels, often old bourbon barrels imported from the US. Aging allows chemical reactions between the alcohol and wood, creating complex flavors. Compounds like vanillin, tannins, and lignin leach from the wood, imparting notes of vanilla, caramel, and spice. The aging process also involves oxidation, which mellows the spirit, reducing harshness and enhancing smoothness. The final product is then filtered, blended, and bottled, ready for consumption. The Caribbean's warm climate accelerates this aging process, giving the rum its distinctive depth and character. While rum is often celebrated for its rich flavors and storied past, it's crucial to acknowledge the complex and sometimes dark history that accompanies this beloved spirit. The evidence of rum production beginning in the 17th century, involving the fermentation and distillation of molasses by enslaved Africans, is well documented through historical accounts, economic records, archaeological findings, and scholarly research. These sources collectively highlight the significant role of enslaved Africans in the early rum industry and their contributions to the development of this iconic Caribbean spirit. For more detailed information, you can explore the following resources: Richard Legan's A True and Exact History of the Island of Barbados, Jean-Baptiste Labat's writings, Caribbean Rum, A Social and Economic History, by Frederick H. Smith, Rum, A Social and Sociable History of the Real Spirit of 1776 by Ian Williams, and Rum, The Epic Story of the Drink That Conquered the World by Charles Coulomb. Understanding this legacy adds depth to our appreciation of rum, reminding us of the resilience and ingenuity of those who played a pivotal role in its history. As we enjoy this spirit today, let us remember its origins and the people behind its creation. Thank you for watching, and we hope you have learned something new here today. Please do like, subscribe, and share this video. Until next time.